Okay, this is the Kong test flight. Testing out this disc to see if it will be a good replacement for my trespass. Both of these trespasses are seasoned. This one is seasoned to what I think is pretty much the sweet spot for the distance drives that I use it for, and this one is going to be flippy. I average about 350, 375 on a really good pull, but 350 is pretty much my average for golf lines. And we're going to see if the Kong can give me a little bit more stability, maybe get a little bit more glide and more forward penetrating fade, and especially as the disc seasons in, maybe it'll help me get to the 400 mark pretty consistently. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to start by throwing this trespass first. We do have a little bit of a tailwind, so these are going to be a little bit more stable than probably what they're depicted as. Then I'll throw one of the Kongs, and then I'll throw the flippy trespass, and I'll throw the other Kong. So just keep in mind, again, these are seasoned, and these ones are brand new, so there's going to be a decent stability difference. But I have a feeling once the Kong really gets seasoned in, it's going to be a long distance bomber. So we'll see what happens. Also, I am primarily right-hand forehand. My backhand is getting better, but it's definitely not at the distance that my forehand is. So these are all right-hand forehand shots. All right, trespass first. Ooh, that tailwind. Turn that a little bit, but the tailwind made it stable when it got down there. All right, so this is Kong number 1. So I intentionally threw it on that flex line, and tailwind definitely pushed it stable. It's not as overstable as I anticipated though, so next one I'll try not throwing it on the flex as much, maybe get a little bit more height on it. But this is flippy trespass. This one I'm going to try to release on it as a flip. Still overturned that one. Typically that trespass is my tailwind bomber. All right, let's try to get a little bit more height on this one. Kong test number 2. Wow. I will say with that tailwind, these things are fast. They get down there. They really have really good glide and that nice forward penetrating fade. The two discs actually feel pretty darn similar in the hand to me, so both of them feel really great for flicks. But so far so good. We're gonna turn around now and see if we can throw them into a headwind and see what happens. Okay, this is test number 2. We are now going into a headwind. This is where trespasses kind of get really temperamental. On my backhand, because it's not as strong as my forehand, I can get them to flip up to flat, maybe turn a little bit, but they tend to come back. This one just kind of flips to flat and then may kind of hold that slow turn. But on flicks, these things do not do well in headwinds because I have more torque, obviously. So that is where I'm hoping these will shine until they get seasoned in. So we'll test it out. Same order again. Trespass first, then Kong, then another trespass, then another Kong. And it's a little cold, so my hands aren't doing too well right now. That's not good. Yeah, so you can see that trespass really wants to turn in that headwind, and it didn't really come back. It really kind of faded to the left there. So now we're gonna go ahead and give the Kong a try and see how well it does in this wind. Okay, yeah. So that Kong definitely has a little bit more stability. It still turned as much as the Trespass, but it definitely had a little bit more bite to the fade. And it actually came back to center, so that was really nice. I think what I'm gonna do, yeah, I'll go ahead. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and flick this Trespass. This one might actually turn into a roller. And then on the way back, we'll do 2 more tests, backhand, to see how well they work from my backhand specifically. So this is Trespass number 2. It just, yeah, the thing is so understable. It just, into the headwind, it just really turned it into a roller. And now we've got Kong number 2. So this one should do the same thing pretty much the other one did. I may actually even try to release it on more of a hyzer to see if I can get it to flip to flat entirely. We'll see. It's a pretty strong headwind. Still got the turn. But I definitely put more hyzer on that so that I was able to get it to maintain that straight line a little bit more. But I'm really liking these so far. They're definitely more stable than a Trespass, but they're not as overstable as a Force. And just to kind of give you an idea, here's a pretty darn overstable Force. I can't really do much with this except for placement, just because that's how overstable it is for me personally. So let's see if we can get this to do in comparison. Yeah, see, that thing didn't even want to flex. It basically went straight into a hyzer, which is great, because I'll need that overstability on the windy days that we have here in North Dallas. But I mean, for distance, it's definitely not my disc. But so far, that Kong is really looking good. All right, so this is Kong test number 3. The last 2, this Kong and this Trespass were basically about the same distance, but like I said, the Kong had a little bit more stability, is able to maintain a straighter line. So that's really nice. The fact that I was able to get that much distance into a headwind, while at the same time, you know, maintain that stability and that control, that's really nice. So far, these are looking really good. The other Kong was a little bit shorter because I did release that with more hyzer, so it didn't want to turn and didn't get as much distance, but still, it's good to know that even in a headwind, if I need that distance, then it's going to do the exact same thing that my Trespass has done, but again, being able to do it in the wind. Of course, that'll change when these get seasoned, but that just confirms my suspicion that these are going to be turning into decently long bombers now. So test flight number 3 is going to be my backhand drives, and the wind has really picked up. Oh, Jesus, it's cold. I'm pretty sure the temperature is dropping pretty quickly. But we're going to go ahead and do backhand drive. We basically are back with the tailwind. So these drives, I just need to remember to get some height on these drives in order to get them to fly the way I want them to, but we'll see. I'm still learning how to control backhand angles as well as I do my forehand. So we'll do the same thing. Orange Trespass first, then Kong, then white Trespass, and then the other Kong. And I may even throw in the Force just for the hell of it, but Trespass backhand. So with that tailwind, that Trespass came out nice and straight and then just had a really nice forward penetrating fade. I've gotten to the point where I've seasoned that Trespass into where I can even get some decent distance off it with my backhand. So we'll see how well the first Kong goes. I'm thinking I may have to pick these up in a lower weight whenever they release. We'll see. Definitely wanted to get to the ground more. I just couldn't get it up in the air. I just don't have the arm speed on my backhand, at least for a tailwind drive like this. We'll try this super flippy Trespass backhand. This one I'm just going to try to release straight instead of trying to put it on an ante. I should get some decent distance. Ah! I threw it too low. Like I said, still trying to get my angles down. But that released really cleanly, really straight. It was just throwing way too low. All right, second Kong. I think I'll try to go for a hyzer angle on this one. Just try to let the wind carry it. See what happens. Completely lost that one. Where'd it go? Well, there it is. So it fell over by the lamppost. So it was a nice, clean hyzer angle. Obviously, not really that much distance, at least compared to my forehand drives, but that released really smoothly, and the tailwind didn't really drop it. It just kind of carried it forward. These things are really nice. I'm not going to backhand this because I definitely can't. But again, really nice disc. I am just every time I pick up and throw one of these things, they just end up being a really good choice. So we'll see what happens on the headwind backhand drives. Okay, so at this point we're on Kong test number 4, and man, that headwind is strong. So at this point, we're just gonna go ahead and do a backhand toss on these. Yeah, we'll just keep doing the same format, and we'll see how it goes. So, trespass first. I apologize if it's hard to see. Pretty much lost all the sunlight at this point. At least a little bit nose up, but in that headwind, man, with that backhand drive, it just completely carried over to the right. It didn't even stand a chance. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is going to turn into another roller. Oh, wait a minute. Kong first. Kong first. This shouldn't turn into a roller. I'm going to try to hyzer flip this bad boy. Wow, that's a strong wind. Okay. So not as overstable as I anticipated. I did release that on a hyzer flip. Looks like it just, I'd say probably the wind is about 15, maybe 20 miles an hour. I don't think it's that strong though, probably 15. But it flipped, it turned, but it really wanted to fight back. So it ended up being a line that was just a little off to the right, but it actually did want to come back at the end. So that's nice to know. All right, flippy trespass. Maybe we could do a nice big anhyzer with this one if it's going to be that stronger wind. Maybe even a roller. Let's see. Roller didn't work out that well. Gotta work on those. All right, well, at least I know where it is. All right, so last Kong test. I'm going to try to do the same thing, hyzer flip into the headwind and see how straight I can keep it. Nice steep hyzer angle. So I had a little bit of nose up on that one, and it did lift into the air a bit. It faded off to the left, so it didn't turn like the other one did. But what that tells me is the disc is really forgiving. You know, typically on a nose up release, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get it, you know, that decent distance. It's going to, you know, stall and then fade off. But it really wanted to still penetrate forward and then kind of faded off because of the nose up angle. So far, honestly, I really can't wait to get these two a course and really test them out. I really think that they're going to replace the trespass in my bag, especially once I start beating them in and getting them seasoned to the point where it's just like bomber distance. I'm talking like hyzer flip to turn to still wanting to come back towards the right. But other than that, I mean, feel free to ask any questions you may have. The plastic feels great. It's super, super swirly. The pictures really don't do it justice. And yeah, I'm excited for the actual release. I may even pick up a couple if they're just a tiny bit more stable than that. I definitely wouldn't mind having those for the headwind days. But anyway, like I said, if you have any other questions, just comment below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.